Welcome to this week's live Q&A on Dylan Talks Tone. I hope you all are having a great day. How's it going, everybody? So it's Thursday. For those of you that are new to the channel, this is our live hangout. We do it every Thursday. We've got techie videos that come out on Tuesday, and we got vlogs that come out on Friday. Tomorrow's vlog you're gonna like. It's pretty cool. I still have to finish it, but you're gonna dig it. It's gonna be pretty awesome. Never before seen footage anywhere ever tomorrow on tomorrow's vlog, so that's cool. So on Thursdays, what we do is I go scour the Patreon and the YouTube member folks over there on YouTube for questions, and we don't have tons this week, so we're probably going to be scouring the comments as well. Get in the chat over there and ask some questions if you want also, and we'll try to get to those as well, so because we don't have a whole lot, so it's pretty awesome. We are excuse me, we are still in an RV park where cell phone coverage is, well, cell phone coverage is good, but I think it's just a lot of data being used by everybody because it's a pretty big RV park. So we are sitting in the Jeep in a parking lot somewhere else where the phone works better so that we can do this with you today. So we are 100% actually mobile. So I hope everybody's doing awesome. Let's see, we got,
that's pretty awesome.
Hang on.
Excuse me.
So we got Fred there, Michael, looks like Phil is there, Dominic, Gear Junkie 35. Thanks so much for hanging out. Let's get to some of these questions. Do you know what kind of components are used for control knobs on affordable modeling amps? The output volume knob on my Positive Grid Spark is very jumpy, but I don't want to take it apart if replacing it is not as simple as replacing a volume pot in a guitar. I can guarantee you it will not be as simple as replacing a volume pot in a guitar. Chances are it is a little miniature plastic pot. They're not even metal probably, and it's going to be like soldered through hole into a circuit board. So it's going to be a completely different way of desoldering and soldering, and sourcing those components probably will be a bit of a pain in the butt, and it probably won't improve anything unless you can actually know what specs you're changing, like the taper or whatever. But I would guess in that situation, especially since it's all digital, that you'd probably be better off not messing with it. Would be my guess. Plus it would just be a lot of work. Those things are pretty packed in there. Let's see, I have another HSS question. Everybody calls it HSS, and I always think of it the other way, single hum, so I always call it SSH, which is kind of funny. On your loaded pickguards with a push-pull for the humbucker, when in middle bridge position, does the humbucker split by default? I'm guessing not, because of the push-pull option for the full humbucker or single coil. Okay, so I had actually somebody ask me this the other day too. When I do coil split stuff, I don't do like the Ibanez way where one of the notch, so I think like on an Ibanez, for example, or actually a lot of single hum guitars, a lot of times in the second from the bottom position, so it'll be the bridge humbucker, and then the one position up from there will be the bridge humbucker split, and then the position up from there will be the middle pickup, and so on. But you lose the bridge middle position when you do that. So I like to put my coil split on a knob. You get more tones that way, and well, that's the real answer, because if you coil split the humbucker and then you put it in that notch position, then you get that like funky Earth, Wind, and Fire kind of sound that you can't get on a normal single hum guitar if you don't do it that way. So I think you get, I guess you get one extra. No, you actually get, if you do a separate coil split, you get 1, 2, 3 extra tones, because you'll get humbucker middle, humbucker by itself. Well, more than that. You'll get a coil split humbucker by itself. You get coil split humbucker and middle. You see what I'm saying? Where you wouldn't get all those sounds if you didn't put that on a separate switch. So that's where I would, that's what I would do, is put it on a separate switch. And then like single hum, when you have 2 humbuckers, usually I put those on a master coil split, because you can screw with phasing a lot if you have to do it just right. So if you put coil splits on both pickups separately, then you end up getting into combinations that you'll actually never really use. But you could do that too. You could do it either way. Doesn't really matter, actually. Let's see. Nope. Okay, I think that's all the questions I had from there. It was actually super easy today. Did you see Dave Mustaine has a Gibson signature model now, which I think is really funny. I think that it's Gibson being a jerk to Dean. That's my opinion, because he was a Dean guy for so long, and then Dean won a lawsuit against Gibson over the V actually, and now Mustaine went to Gibson. Here's my thing about that. So since we don't really have super important stuff to talk about today, and if you have questions, put it in the chat, because I'm going to try to get to them. I will have time to get to them today. So here's the thing about this thing with Dave Mustaine, though, which I think is really funny. Why would I buy a Gibson Dave Mustaine if I'm a super Megadeth fan, when none of the good music that he ever wrote was written on that guitar? Right? Like, all of the good music, well, unless he comes out with like some legendary record that is amazing, but I kind of doubt it. I think it's a bit of a cash grab. That is my opinion. But why would I buy? It's like, I don't know. It's like if I can't think of anybody, because all the people I can think of are dead. I guess people would just do it because they're a fan. But like, if Jimmy Page all of a sudden got a Jackson deal, which is completely outside of whatever he normally plays, why would you buy that guitar? Because it doesn't associate anything with what you know of Jimmy Page. Like, if he got a Jackson endorsement, would you go buy a Jimmy Page Jackson? I wouldn't, because we know him as a Tele guy. Ha! At least I know him as a Tele guy. We know him as a Tele guy and a Les Paul guy. Same thing with Mustaine. All of the guitars that he's played for all those years on all those records are not what he's going to be playing now. It just doesn't make sense to me. I don't know. If it was earlier in his career, I can kind of see another example of this might be who's the Silver Sky guy? Yeah, John Mayer. I can kind of see John Mayer doing it, because he still has like 50 years of music in front of him and only 20 years of music behind him, and he could create an entire legacy of music that he's played on a Silver Sky. But that's another weird one where it's just like, I don't want to say companies getting mad at each other, but it's almost like it has more to do with the money side of the endorsement stuff, in my opinion, than, oh, I want to get an endorsement from PRS. I don't know. It's just weird. That endorsement stuff is weird to me because it's not always about what you would actually play. It's about what you're given, and that doesn't make sense to me. That's why we don't do endorsement deals. Somebody asked me that the other day, if I would send... Oh, I know what it was. It was a couple of weeks ago in our live video where somebody asked if I would send a video, I would send some pickups to some bigger YouTubers or whatever and try to get some exposure and stuff. And the answer is no, because...
Exposure.
Yeah. Exposure just kills you in many ways, like when you're out in the sun for too long, or when you're in the cold for too long, or when you give a bunch of stuff away for free and it doesn't do anything. Exposure is a killer. Overexposure means that your pictures don't look good. Exposure is a bad word, in my opinion. Exposure is a bad word, in my opinion. So I'm never going to do that stuff. I'm never going to do that stuff. All right, let me see. Go through here. I see some spirited conversations happening. Let's see. The acoustic guitar has 24 frets. You must be talking about the Mustaine acoustic guitar. Now that's cool. It's going to be too much money though. Dylan, humbucker in a Strat neck position. Do it. Dude, totally do it. I have a pick guard. I bought a pick guard that I'm going to put 2 humbuckers in my Strat, my white Strat that I have for all this testing stuff. So here's the deal with the white Strat. We are going to be back in our home base town for a little bit. And I've got some really good guitar players around me that are way better than me. And I'm going to try to put together some demo days, basically, where we take that guitar, we put pickups in it, and we go record some really good demos for the website. That's what's going to happen. So in that guitar, I'm going to put 3 single coil pickups, which is already in there now. We're going to do a single hum setup with a center punch, and we'll do a demo with that guitar, with that setup. We're going to do 2 P90s, which we actually might do. We might shoot 2 P90s next week because I have that other hardtail Strat with the 2 P90s in it, so we could actually do that one next week. The client, I'm waiting on a shipping information from the client, so that guitar is about to go out to the client, but before I do, we'll shoot a demo with it. So that's pretty cool. So that guitar will take care of the P90s. We're going to do 2 humbuckers, so we'll do a set of DAFs in a Strat. We'll do a set of center punches, or a center punch and an 8-ball probably in the Strat. Then we're also going to do some humbucker P90s in the Strat. A bunch of different pickup combinations, so that I can update all the demo videos on my website for all of my pickups. But I wanted to wait until we got back to my good guitar players that I know that I can have, and they have a place to do it and everything. It'll be easy and awesome to do. So what is the question from Michael McCoy? I didn't understand this one. So in answer to your question, CBK, our center punches are amazing in the neck position, especially because you can split them and still get a really good single coil sound, because our center punches sound amazing when you split them. So just know that. Let's see. Have you ever done repairs on a Godin guitar with the 2 humbuckers and the Piezo? I kind of want to mess with it, but it looks complicated or complex, and I don't want to screw it up. So those are interesting. That Godin guitar, as well as the guy with the beard. I'm terrible about guitar player names. I need to worship them harder or something so I can remember them. John Petrucci. He also has those as well. They're not as complicated as you think. Basically, it's just an extra pickup. So you have you know, like your neck pickup and your bridge pickup, or you might have like a single hum or single pickup, and then the piezo is just, consider it like a third or a fourth pickup. That's all it really is. And then usually one of the and it has a little preamp on it, and then it's like adding an acoustic pickup to your electric guitar, and then there's a switch that will, like on the John Petrucci model, will give you piezo and magnetic, or just magnetic, or just piezo. So it's like a three-way switch, and you can switch between the two. So it's actually not really that complicated. It's just an extra pickup in there. And typically it's almost like a little standalone system in there, with only that one switch being the common between everything. It's actually pretty simple. You're still looking for tone beer, Fred? So you're saying I should come out with a line of... You're saying I should come out with a line of beer. Is that what you're saying? Maybe I should. Dylan talks tone beer. Okay. Just running down through here. All the good music was not using stainless steel. I don't know what that means. Yep, it's just business. Brown has better tone than green. I beg to differ. I do not like brown. I do not like fancy wood guitars either. Obviously. Not a big... I think Gibson just recruits an artist to save the unquality product they have for years. Gibson's quality is fine. That is a misnomer that just needs to go away. People need to stop talking about it. And if you go to a music store and you play a guitar that has bad quality, is not a good quality instrument from Gibson, you just go to the person and say, that's working at the store, and say, there is a problem with this guitar, give me another one. Do not complain about it on the internet. Be a part of the solution and just say, this guitar is not good, can you show me another one? And that will put the responsibility on the store owner to give you good quality product. It is not just Gibson, it's everybody. I just spent $1,000 for a new Strat, and it was a pile of crap. It took me hours to get that guitar right. That is the real reason why we had 5 videos on setting up that Strat, because it was terrible. The frets were terrible, the neck was terrible, everything about that guitar was terrible. I just spent a lot of time. I mean, you saw 10, 12, 15-minute videos on it, but I had to spend a lot of time to get that guitar right. And that was not a Gibson. That was a Fender. And it was supposed to be a good one. So it's not just them. It's just everything is suffering right now. Parts shortages, vendor changes. I mean, I'm dealing with it right now. This whole COVID thing, and I hate blaming stuff on COVID. I hate that, because I just feel like you should be able to solve the problem. And we do, in the end, eventually solve the problem. And we give you product, and we ship good product, and it all happens. But what you don't see behind the scenes is, and actually I was talking to a purchase person at Fender the other day, and basically this was at Fender, and I was telling him about this guitar, and he's like, you know, vendor changes, where stuff comes from is all disrupted right now. So you might actually have to buy your fret wire from somewhere else. You might have to buy your necks, or the wood for your necks, or your tuners. He was telling me about a big problem that came up because Fender was using a particular vendor for their tuners for a particular bass, and then all of a sudden that vendor had an issue and the price went up a particular percentage, and Fender had to completely reconstruct how they built that guitar because of their vendor. It was nothing they could do, but basically they had to go into adjustment mode. I'm personally having to do that right now with humbucker parts. I'm actually having other pickup builders call me and be like, hey, this part for the humbucker, where do you get it? Because everywhere is out of stock. And I'm like, I'm having the same problem you are, dude. And I'm having to go to all completely new links and spend way more money and get way more, to have things shipped and made and et cetera, just to stay going right now. And it is because of COVID. It really is. So that means trickle all that down to the guitar store, and you might see an up and down in quality. That doesn't mean that the brand is terrible. What it does mean is that you definitely need to hold the vendor accountable, whether it's a local shop or Guitar Center or Sam Ash or the online place that you bought it from, although it's harder when you buy it online to say you sent me a crappy guitar. You know what I mean? But make sure you do. Make sure you do, because that's the only way they know that there's a problem. If you just get a product and then get on the internet and complain about it, that doesn't fix anything. They need to know that there's a problem, and then you need to make them fix that. Don't be a jerk about it, but you definitely need to say, hey, the fretwork on this guitar is terrible. Can you send me another one, please? Or can you show me another one? Or can you order me another one in, or whatever? Like, have that civilized conversation instead of just getting on the internet and complaining about it. I keep bringing this up about the Gibson thing because people continue to complain about Gibson, and it's made up, in my opinion. Let's see. Dylan, do you know why the Tom Morello Strat kill switch has 2 pins bridged to ground, 1 output to the jack? No, I don't know the answer to that question because I kind of don't know what you're talking about. However, if it is a Strat kill switch, or if it is a kill switch and it has more poles than you need, typically it's because it's a dual pole, dual throw switch, and there's actually kind of 2 sets of switches built in there. We have a video about this. Typically when you look at a dual pole, dual throw switch, there will be 2 sets of 3 prongs. You'll actually have 6 prongs on the back, and you'll only use 2 of them for a kill switch. So that may be the answer to your question. I don't know for sure. 3 P90s would be very cool. Yeah, for sure. Let's see. I want to replicate it, but I can't find... Oh, this is a great question. Okay, so the reason he asked about the kill switch is because he wants to replicate a kill switch, but he doesn't know how to do it without getting a huge pop when he engages the kill switch. Okay, this is a great question. Here's how you do it. You may think that you need to actually disconnect something and then reconnect it to be a kill switch. So basically you're playing the guitar and you hear the pickup, and then so you unhook the pickup and now it's dead, and then you rehook it back up. That's not the way to do it. The way you want to do it is leave it hooked up the whole time, and then run a wire from the hot to the switch, and then from the switch to the ground. And all you're going to do when you push the kill switch is ground the pickup out, and it will pop a whole lot less. There still might be a little click in it. It just depends how good your switch is too. But a nice momentary switch, a quality switch, should not pop. A lot of people think that if you unhook the pickup and hook it back up, that's how you kill switch it. That would be like unplugging your guitar and plugging it back in. Well, we know that that makes a pop. But if you just take the hot on your output jack, kill switch the whole guitar, don't just do one pickup. Take the hot on your output jack, run one wire up to one side of your switch, and then from the other side of the switch, run it to the ground. It won't do anything, and it won't affect your tone. It won't add anything to your tone or take away from your tone while it's sitting there. Then when you hit the button, it shorts it to ground and kills it. That's the right way to do it. It'll be a lot quieter that way. That's a great question. I don't know how to say your name, El Cuervo, whatever. I'm sorry about that. Gibson is just an old jazz guitar company. I wouldn't go that far, but that's pretty funny. Have you done any videos about how piezo pickups work? I'd be interested in understanding how some of the variations work. Okay, I don't know all the different brands of stuff, and this kind of goes along the board. I look at how the thing works, but I don't specifically know each brand specifically, each one. The way Piezo works is this is crazy, but it's actually a crystal that when it vibrates creates an electrical current. So they put it in the bridge vibrates, it creates an electrical current. That's the easiest way to say it. There's nothing to it other than that. It doesn't connect to anything, nothing. So that's why you just have this like braided wire that you put underneath a bridge, and you stick the bridge down on top of it, and then you play the guitar. It literally does nothing except for vibrate. But when it vibrates, it creates a voltage. That's what piezo crystals do. Weird. It's weird. It's like voodoo. That is like truly weird guitar voodoo, but that's what it does. I play my neck position center punch in my telly the most. Dude, me too. I understand that totally. Will a series blend in a dance Armstrong mod and an SSS Strat sound like a real humbucker? That's an interesting one. I actually used to have, in my other Strat that I leave at home, I used to have that set up where it was the neck and the middle position were in a series. So when you put two single coils in series but out of phase with, so north up on one, south up on the other, and you basically hook them up like two coils of a humbucker, but they're two single coils, they will sound, because of the node antinode thing and where they are in the scale of the guitar, they will sound more like a regular humbucker the closer they are together. So you can take two Strat pickups that are wound correctly for this, put them together, hook them up in series, and they will sound almost exactly like a humbucker. But as you spread them apart, they will sort of sound like a humbucker, but not as much. And it's because of the distance between them and where they fall in the scale length of the guitar. An example of that would be, a more familiar example for most people would be a Strat with a four-way switch in it, where you put a telly, I apologize. A telly with a four-way switch in it, where you put two pickups in series, and they sound kind of like a humbucker, but they're so far apart, and where they sit in the scale length is different. So you don't hear, it doesn't sound exactly like a humbucker. Now, if you took both of those pickups and just smashed them together right next to each other, it would sound like a humbucker. It's the distance between them and where they fall in the scale length that changes that. Let's see. That was a great question. That smoothie pickup is pretty cool. It is. Voodoo custom pickups. I haven't been able to get nickel silver base plates for weeks. Dude, it is brutal. And for those of you that have been ordering humbuckers from us, that's why the wait is so long. I have tons of neck ones, but bridge pickup, because it's 50 millimeter and 52 millimeter, that's the way we do it. I cannot find nickel 52 millimeter base plates. We could very easily switch to brass and make them cheap looking and sounding, but I'm just not going to do that. So I've actually got some feelers out to some. I'm trying to fix it. I think I will have it resolved by early next week, but you're right, dude. It's Mr. Voodoo. It's been bad. It's been very difficult. Oh, one of the things I want to mention. Charles just made me realize it. So every fourth Sunday of the month, and I was going to talk about this at the beginning of the video, but every fourth Sunday of the month, we have a Patreon hangout. You go over to patreon.com/DylanTalksTone, and you sign up for it over there. There's a level for Patreon that does it. And you bring a guitar with a problem or whatever you want to talk about, and we literally have a Zoom meeting, and the group of us, we sit around and talk about it, and we've fix each other's problems, basically. It's sort of guitar tech therapy. Oh, we should just name it something like that. That'd be super funny. Anyway, Leslie's sitting over here, by the way. Anyway, this week is going to be really cool because I've already got people. In fact, I think I've got this right here. I've already got people. Charles has a problem with a microphonic pickup, and I think he's a little bit confused about ground versus microphonic stuff, so that's going to be fun. We're not going to talk about that right now. That's going to be Sunday. And then the other thing is we have another person who has a Parker, which is a really weird, cool guitar, and he's having some problems. He actually paid somebody to do some work, and it didn't come out the way he thought. So we're going to try to troubleshoot, which will be kind of fun. When you troubleshoot wiring stuff, we might actually like draw it out and like draw a circuit and figure it out. So that'll be cool. And then the other thing, and this is going to be live in a group, like video, audio, the whole thing. And then the other thing, I think Rob's got a capacitor idea that he wants to talk about, to put multiple capacitors in a guitar. So that's going to be kind of cool. So we've got a bunch of stuff already, but for those of you that are not a part of that yet, you can still go over there, sign up for that. If you cannot, for some reason, make it to the live thing on Sunday, there's also another level on Patreon where we release last month's 30 days later, and you get to at least watch the replay. And it's cheaper, and it's anytime. And either level of those things on Patreon, you get access to like 20 hours of content, because you get access to all of it. So you could literally binge for hours all of these live hangouts and all the stuff we've talked about and wiring diagrams, and I mean, it's literally hours of stuff. You would totally love it if you want to nerd out on this stuff, for sure. Beer 90, dude, that is a really good name. I've been at a standstill for base plates. Lead wire bobbins are all out of stock. Man, I feel for you. I'm barely hanging on with some stuff, man. We're staying going, but it's been difficult finding parts. I have the same Roadhouse you do, and the frets are driving me crazy. I've messed with it 3 times. The fret ends feel okay, but after 2 hours of playing, it feels like the fret are coming through the wood. So I've noticed that because I had to do the same thing, and here's what I'm going to tell you on that. Maybe I will show you that. I will show you that in the vlog that's going to come out tomorrow. Keith H. Make sure you watch the vlog that comes out tomorrow at noon, and I will try to remember to add that tonight. So the way I showed you to fix fret ends in the video on that guitar, you know, where we fixed all the fret ends a couple weeks ago, that is like the way to do it. That's not the way I actually do it. I mean, if you brought me your guitar, that's the way I would do it, because I wouldn't do what I'm about to tell you to someone else's guitar. The way I do it is I take the sanding block, the straight sanding block, and I just go up and down the edges. And I make sure that you cannot feel frets, because I hate that. The downside is that it sort of can screw up, depending on the guitar and depending on the curve of it and everything, can sort of screw up the finish on the edge of the neck. That being said, I don't play fancy guitars. Well, I do, but I wouldn't do it on a bound neck. I wouldn't do it on like a PRS with a super shiny finish. Anything with a really shiny finish. But if you've got like a maple neck Fender or a rosewood's no problem because you can just oil it. Or pale ferro or ebony or any of that stuff, it's super easy. You just run the thing up and down the side and make sure that the edges don't stick out. Just know that the wood's going to be raw on the edges. Like, it will be like that. But I like that. So I'll show you in a video what I mean. I'm not talking about going insane with it, but just know if it's shiny, you don't want to do that. But if you have the same guitar I do, yeah, you'll be fine. Let's see. Sweetwater is great for dealing with issues. Yeah, and so is Zounds too. Hi, is the Peter Green out of phase setup the same as the 2 and 4 positions on a Strat? No, because actually, contrary to popular belief, those pickups are not out of phase with each other. They're in phase. It's just the position of them. If they were out of phase, I should do a video about that actually. Because everybody says, they want to say that the positions 2 and 4 on a Strat are out of phase, but they are not. They sound kind of out of phase, but they are in phase. Those pickups are in phase. If they were out of phase, they would be completely weak and almost unhearable. Peter Green, the Peter Green Les Paul, allegedly, is a mistake, allegedly. And there are many different stories on this, so don't get in the comments and rip me a new one like you did on this Jeff Beck thing last week. Peter Green, allegedly, one of, I think it's the neck pickup, is the magnet. The pickups are exactly the same, but the neck magnet is flipped around, is what it is. I'm pretty sure that's the rumor anyway. And so if you're going to Peter Green your Les Paul, that's what you do. You just take the humbucker apart, you just take the base plate loose and poke the magnet out and flip it over and then tighten the base plate back up, put the cover back on, and now you've got Peter Green in the middle position. It is not the same thing as a Strat in the 2 and the 4. Doug. Hi, Doug. I'm a guitaraholic. Let's see. I did that first with the micro sponge. Oh, okay. So you did run up and down the side of the fretboard. Yeah, man. The Eric Johnson position 4 is in phase. Yeah, so that has to do again, and that goes back to position of the pickup. If you look at a Strat and a Tele, the position of the neck pickup and the bridge pickup are roughly the same. But you add the middle one, and then you run the middle one and the neck one together, or you run the middle one and the bridge one together, and you get that hollow, glassy sound. That is not a phasing thing. That is a node antinode thing. That is a pickup position thing. That is why you can't get that sound on a Tele, because you don't have the middle position to do it, unless it's a, Nashville or something. And I like to mess with that a little bit. So I love that glassy sound, that like John Mayer, that early John Mayer, super clean, really glassy. Like I call it tubular. It has this weird kind of tubular sound, and you're right, it does sound sort of out of phase, but it's not. What you can do is when you set up your pickup heights on your Strat, if you really like that sound, no matter what pickups you have in it, set your neck pickup as high as it'll go, and so fret the last note on the fretboard and set your neck pickup as high as it'll go without like buzzing when you play again. You don't want it to hit, you know what I mean? No contact, but as high as it'll go. And then set the volume of your bridge pickup to match your neck pickup. Just use the neck pickup as a reference. So set it as high as it'll go, and then set the bridge pickup, move it around until you like the difference between the neck and the bridge. Then take your middle pickup and raise it all the way up, and then start lowering it until you get that tubular kind of sound that you like. And chances are you're going to find out that that middle pickup is going to end up being a lot lower than you think. But it'll exaggerate that glassy, tubular position 4 sound that you so like. Ivan, thank you so much for the super chat. Whiskey money. Heck yeah. Metric whiskey. Does that mean I have to buy Canadian whiskey with it? Because I don't really like Canadian whiskey. Oh, he says your choice. But his tone gets real thin and all. Sounds like something is getting canceled out, not the typical in-between sound. Here's why. Because he... so I've been playing with Eric Johnson's tone a little bit lately. Not trying to match it or anything. Just trying to learn about it and then like trying to reconstruct it a little bit. That blues breaker that he uses is way weird in what it does, especially when he uses overdrive. Yeah, definitely the combination of the other gear that he's using is a part of that, I think. How might you design a long-range pickup for jazzy blues tones? Would this work? Do you mean a wide range? I'm looking for about 1/2 inch of clearance between the string and the pickup. Oh, long range. Oh, okay. 1/2 inch of clearance between this. Yeah, I mean, I could do that. Actually, I think I have a pickup that would actually do it already. I think I do. That's an interesting one. What is the secret of the Mojotone 56 Quietcoil P90? Is it really quiet? Someone said maybe even better than Dylan's. Well, they're obviously drinking some of Ivan's whiskey because they're not better than mine. I'm just joking about that. The only reason I say that is because those Quietcoil P90s are hum canceling, and they have 2 coils in them stacked on top of each other, and there is no way, well, I've heard them, I know they do not have the clarity on the top end that my pickups have, which I have to have. I can't stand not having that. Your whiskey is much cheaper. I don't know. You can get, and it's probably not even Canadian, but what's that really cheap Canadian whiskey you can get at like Sam's Club and Costco and stuff? It's like called, and it comes in a big plastic jug. It's terrible. That's what I think of when I think of Canadian whiskey. That and Molson Canadian. Like, those are like the budget. I don't know. I can't remember what the name of that whiskey is. But, will you see if your Allen wrench from other Fenders fits your height adjustment screws just for the hell of it next time you're messing with it? If your Allen from your other Fenders, I know mine won't because I only have one other Fender and it's Japanese. So I have a Mexican Fender and I have a Japanese Fender, and I know for sure that they are not the same. But that is not a good gauge of that because they're totally, completely, weirdly different guitars. And I only have those 2. I don't have a bunch of Fenders actually. Yeah. Is it another category of pickups that sit far away from the strings? I think you just have to spend some time getting that right. I wish I had an oscilloscope so I could show you what distance does. That's a really interesting thing, what distance does from the strings. And I don't have one. So I should figure that out, because that would be a really interesting thing to talk about, the distance between the strings. Cool. Let's see. Awesome. You guys, this has been super fun. Thanks for hanging out, and thanks for the super chats, and thanks for hanging out with us and watching all this stuff. And make sure you check out the Patreon stuff, because that is going to be super fun on Sunday. I always look forward to them, but this one I'm really looking forward to, because literally a month ahead of time or 3 weeks ahead of time, people are like, I have a thing, I want to bring it, I have a problem, I need help. And when everybody's that into it, the discussion, it gets really fun. And so I'm super excited about that. And it's cool to get to meet people because, talking in a chat is great. I mean, doing this with you every week is really cool. But when we actually get to, have an actual interchange, at least as in person as we can get right now, it's super fun. So I think you'll really dig it if you are able to join us. Charles, if you're ever near Northern Kentucky, I have a 4-channel scope. I need to get one. I was looking actually at some stuff. I ordered some more test equipment today. I needed to replace my LC meter, so I got a new one of those coming. And I finally am going to get a real Gauss meter. So we're going to have some fun video-wise with that. So I think it's going to be cool. Yeah, man. Is it possible to get that position 2 and 4 strat sound by switching a humbucker from series to parallel? Nope. No, that's a different thing. That, again, distance. You need the distance. Awesome. You guys are cool. Thanks for hanging out. I appreciate everything. And we will see you in tomorrow's vlog. Make sure you don't miss that one because it's like never before seen stuff.